The Third Side of the Coin, brought to you by Excalibur Coaching and Consulting.
Welcome to part 4.
Will that same or similar conversation happen or advice happen around the leaders who have to lay people off? With COVID, it becomes a bit more drastic or almost magnified, where the leaders have to make immediate quick decisions. And they, would you give them the similar advice, or what are you seeing, since you are creating the strategies for thought leadership, and what approach can the leader take to actually stay oh mentally healthy? I think that's it, right? Staying healthy.
Yeah, whether you were the leader that made the decision or whether you're the recipient of it, it's all about mental agility, you know. Now, what does mental agility mean? Mental agility being able to see the nature of things of what it is. We all forget what a business is. A business needs to have cash flow. It's a profit or loss. Now, if a business cannot keep operating and cannot pay income, then you cannot expect the impossible to happen. You can't put in a moral argument into it when the system itself is amoralistic. People keep forgetting that. So you can't have the best of both worlds of having your cake and eating it too. I mean, that this is like really cold water treatment, all right? But once you're able to see it, because you're making a business decision, and then obviously there's the moral consequences. That's where you're taking away someone's livelihood, but the business can't support it. What are you meant to do? Well, you can always help them look for the next opportunity or find or assist them as much as possible. When I was running my own business, we had to close the business. We didn't have the brightest staff on hand, but damn were they loyal. And when we closed the business, it was an obligation on my part because one, I felt terrible. These are individuals past 50, not, I mean, they're great in taking or, instructions, but anything else, it was rather difficult. I mean, you really, what can they do then? Especially somewhere in Hong Kong, there is no welfare or anything like that. It is a free market. So what we did was to make recommendations to our clients or friends or whoever to at least give them something to go to, even though it might be less than what they're paid for. So it gives them a buffer. So that is the moral responsibilities leaders need to do. It's not like thank you for your service and send them off. That's what you're seeing. But yes, then you'll say, okay, if I was a 10,000 overhead organization and sending them out, then okay, instead of is it possible to um, find 10,000 jobs that you've played? No, it's not possible, not in this environment. But you can also give them online training free of charge. No one has done that. You know, Amazon did talk about it. I don't know how successful it is. But why can't large organization activate community centers so people who do not have access to the digital environment have access to it somehow, right? And then be upskilled or reskilled for the new norm. You know, these are we've stopped halfway. It's neither here or there. So that's why the leaders who've made the cut feel guilty. The ones that have been cut feel shortchanged. But then there's like, what the heck do we do now? Well, work together and reskill. I know it's easier said than done, but working online is one opportunity, you know, that can help some people at this stage.
Dealing with morality in general, it's complex, whether
Yes.
it's morality with let's open up the country or let's keep it down, let's give it people you know thousands of dollars each month, and then they might come back and work. So I think I think that's going to be a difficult question to answer, but you're giving a very practical solution here. And from my perspective, something just to add to what you're saying, you can do small things. People can relate to you as a leader if they can see that you are a human, right? So what can a human do? Well, there's LinkedIn. You can give a person recommendation. Somebody is working for you. There's got to be something great that they've done that you can just say, hey, Joe or Mary were absolutely fantastic for the last 5 years. I appreciate it. It's that small touch that doesn't take much time and costs absolutely nothing. In the US, part of the employee benefits is providing employee assistance program. So if somebody gets laid off, in most cases, I'm not saying all the time, but in a lot of cases, the organizations will offer that assistance program and a lot of employees, probably because of the fact that when they get laid off, they're too emotional, angry, and feeling betrayed, that they might not realize that there are services where they can go and get free assistance, such as resume writing, so they wouldn't need to pay someone like me their services. They're already in difficult situation, but at least get the basics of it. So I think it's difficult for the leaders, but going back to the ability of staying human centric, we as leaders need to make sure that we understand how the layoff impacts an individual who just got impacted for that, in that situation, and they're afraid, and fear freezes our creativity. We don't get to the point where all of a sudden we have the creative solutions and starting to search until we
Yeah,
calm ourselves
and
down.
yeah, creativity cannot happen when you're stressed or sad. It happens when your energy is high. So the energy high doesn't mean like you're la 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 or whatever. It's being able to see what's happening within you, having the right practices, lifestyle, and all that keeps your energy high.
Okay, anybody recently that have been impacted, whether it's leaders or the individuals who got laid off, who we just talked about, as well as the influencers, everybody is using survivor guilt. So survivor guilt, or survivor's guilt, is when a person has a feeling of guilt because they survived a life-threatening situation when others did not. It is common reaction to traumatic events and a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Why do you think everybody is now getting that phrase out? Because I'm seeing it often, way too often, survivor guilt. So do we feel that the workforce is truly getting to that point? Those who still have jobs are at the point where they feel they've done something wrong? Because if I go by definition, that's what survivor guilt is.
Yeah, or imposter syndrome as well is another way of seeing it. The survival guilt, everyone loves phrases, but whether you have survivor's guilt or sadness that you've seen colleagues being forcibly moved on, it's part of human nature.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of how do you move on from that. And in your expertise in your field, that's where you're able to help people move on to like, is it going to make you any different by holding on to your survivor guilt? Is it going to change the way you behave in a positive way? And then when you start looking at it that way, then it's sort of like, yes, you go through that and then take action to how to change it. So even with PTSD, it is something that you hang on to, right? But then you can also take active actions in order to get yourself out of that situation, which comes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning, is taking responsibility for all your decisions as well as your indecisions. Because when you don't take responsibility for your indecisions, what is it? You set yourself up for blaming, right? But when you take responsibility for your indecisions or non-decision, that's it. Okay, I didn't action on it, so it's happened. Okay, fine. That's why it's happened. But when we don't take responsibility, what happens? Oh, why did it happen like this? Maybe that person did that on purpose, or that. So it creates all this anxiety with you. So it's another conversation about, how the mind works. And it's very much when you start doing practices of whatever it is, exercise, reflection, journaling, writing a book, anything that allows you to express yourself, right? Any form of expression that allows you to be creative, is your first step to taking responsibility. That's very different from taking expression when you are angry, because there's no awareness in it. Anger, there is no awareness. But when you express yourself creatively, there's complete awareness in it. That is the qualitative difference between what is empowering responsibility and disempowering responsibility, which is anger.
And I don't know if you would agree with that, but I wanted to throw it out there. Start with small steps. Sometimes I tell individuals who are experiencing, and now let me just make a disclaimer, step back. We're not mental professionals, so if you're feeling that you cannot control the anxiety, definitely see somebody who is licensed and qualified. We're just speaking from our personal experience here. So one of the simple suggestions that I make to the individuals who are still thinking about getting help is celebrating small successes. If there's even the glimpse of a great idea or something that made you smile, something that made you feel warm and fuzzy inside, something you've done maybe that is not usual, for you in this moment. If you're laid off right now, or you're working with the organization that just had workforce reductions, celebrate small successes, because those small successes will help you build up and bring you to the point where you find creative solutions. But the very first step is taking responsibilities for your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors.
And I love how you said celebrate. We forget how to celebrate.
We're too busy, aren't we? We're using the excuse of we're busy.
Yeah, we're busy, and I love that. Celebrate in small ways, because when you start adding them up together, it becomes like fireworks. You have the small ones and big ones. That makes it beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Tim, thank you so much. I think we had a wonderful conversation. I personally enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. And for everybody who was listening to us, if you enjoyed our discussion, please like and comment below. To learn about executive leadership and career coaching, resume writing, organizational development consulting, either go to www.excaliburcoaching.com or connect with both Timothy Wong, and Alexandra Aberle on LinkedIn. We're happy to offer our suggestions and feedback, but we certainly hope we were able to help you. So thank you so much, Tim.
Thank you, Alex, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Definitely, me too. Bye.